Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another very exciting episode of Tactical Films. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Canon EOS Rebel T6 camera along with the 18-55mm lens, and it's going to be a really comprehensive review about what really matters most in the camera. So let's start off with the weight. So when you hold the camera, it weighs, it's fairly light. It's not too big as well. It's 1.06 pounds, and it's pretty much has the average size for a DSLR camera. So let's take a closer look right now. So here we have all our controls. We have our side, we have the button up there, like the shutter button. We have the flash up here. We have where our lens goes, and we have our viewfinder. So this camera is fairly new. It's been released in the year 2016, which is this year, and that really makes it it makes it better because it's latest technology and sort of things like that. So it has very good picture. So let's talk about the quality. 18 megapixels, and it's very good for a sort of beginner class DSLR camera. It has a CMOS sensor with a 4.30 nanometer square per pixel unit, and this pretty much provides outstanding quality for any sort of images that you're trying to take with this camera. So it's very durable. Like, I've been using it for the past few weeks, and it does not feel cheap at all in your hands. Like, for an entry-level DSLR, it feels really high quality. Even all these little added features, like this little sort of rubber part right there, and even the front, it feels good to hold. It's very comfortable. So let's talk about the flash. It does have a built-in flash. It's pretty much the standard sort of quality for a flash that you see in most DSLRs. It's nothing really outstanding. It's just, you know, regular flash. It has, so in the T5, its predecessor, it didn't have the Wi-Fi or NFC features. So this camera right here, it has Wi-Fi and NFC built in. And what this allows you to do is actually transfer videos or images to the app on a compatible smartphone. And you can even remote control the camera, which comes in handy if you're like trying to film it for some dangerous situations or even some remote situations that you might need remote for. You can change the options on the camera from the actual remote menu, and it's really a big improvement from the T5 in those terms. So let's talk about battery life. So in this camera, we have a alternating current battery, and I actually have it. We have this little charger device right here. This thing flicks out, those power nodes right there, and you can easily take this out. You have these two lights right here. Come in handy to know when it's done. Automatically stops, so there's no issues with that. Small battery. So the battery itself, it's fairly good for this sort of camera. It's rolling in at 500 pictures and sort of 1 to 2 hours of constant video shooting. So that's pretty good for this kind of DSLR. I really wasn't expecting it before I got it. So one of the downsides of this camera is that it lacks good autofocus. So on each lens here, you have the autofocus and the manual focus. Usually what I do is I turn on the manual focus because simply the autofocus in this camera is not too good. It doesn't capture the subject or change the settings properly as it should. I mean, for regular shooting, sort of if you're not going into that pro level or trying to do something really good, then, you know, autofocus can cut it, but I really wouldn't recommend it for any sort of pro or anybody going out there. So usually, I mean, any pro that they would always use manual focus, so it wouldn't really be that big of an issue. But autofocus is sort of a downside to this camera. So let's talk about the actual price of this camera. So that's a very important thing. A lot of you guys were probably waiting for that. So the actual price, and let's start with Canadian. I'm going to say Canadian and American. So it's $650 Canadian, and these are prices on Amazon, so you know, usually the lowest prices. And we have $550 American. So in terms of pricing, I think it's a really good price for its value. It has a lot of good features, and it comes with a pretty good lens, and it's just really good in general. I love what the camera came with. It even came with a really nice neck strap. It didn't come with a bag, which you know you always have to pay for, but you know it's not really that important. So in terms of how I rate this camera, I'm going to give this camera a 4.5 stars out of 5 stars. You know, simply because it lacks a good autofocus feature. Autofocus is a very important thing for people that are just going to use their DSLR casually, and they're not really going to be using it for pro sort of usage. And let's just take a look at how the lens comes on. So this cap, it simply comes off right there, and then let me just put this down right here. We have the lens. Then let's take off the actual back. So this comes off. Here we have the actual part, and then all you have to do is simply just roll it in, make sure it's at the right spot, and adjust the little white spot right there until you hear that little click, and then you're all set to go. You can take this guy off, and all set to go doing your shooting. So that's pretty much it for this comprehensive review of the camera. If you want to learn more, you can always click in the link in the description. You can see the specifications from Canon. Those are really good, and that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button. If you didn't, you know where the other button is. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.